A more liberalized market will pave way for better services driven by competition, and airlines will determine what kind of experience they want to linger in the mind of the passenger. That's the view of our guest, and is the Vice President, Pricing and Revenue Management for Copa Airlines in Panama, Mr. Chris Amenechi.
The operation of Nigerian carriers, in my opinion, is low cost, right? The cost of the airplane, you don't manufacture airplanes here, so it's going to cost you dollars. However, if you look at everything about the operation of a Nigerian carrier, it is probably the lowest cost I know of. Just think of how many people work at a counter, how many people support that carrier, how many people work in different aspects of the business for that airline. They're pretty low cost. Now, that aside, the fares, what they complain about is the government wants to put limits on how high the fare should be or how low the fare should be, right? Normally, no government should care how low the fare could be. If you can make it work, you make it work. But here, to them, to fly you, from Lagos to Abuja, if it's going to cost me per seat, if it's going to cost me $50, then I need to be able to price 50 and above, right? And you convert that into Naira, every customer goes, it's too much, right? But yet, you want them to be on time, you want them to fly on the schedule, you want them to treat you like a king and a queen. That's not going to happen, right? They just cannot consistently do that. They've got to price the effective rate that generates a profit. You're not in business to lose money. Right? No, it's not a liberal market because who controls the airspace, who controls the airports? Those are costs that you don't control. That's a government person who doesn't think through what the operation of the airline is. And there are all these taxes and fees that these guys have to deal with. I'm not saying every airline that sets up really understands the business, but in general, just my understanding from all of the folks who deal with this environment, there are challenges everywhere. Price is based on availability and it's based on demand, right? If there's enough demand beyond the supply, then the prices will go up. If there's enough supply and there's no demand, then the prices will drop to stimulate demand. And so, with competition comes the idea that you have good prices in the market that extend through the market segments, right? Those who are really price conscious will get some seats. Those who don't care and want to be there and just walk up onto the airplane, they'll pay a price for it, but they get that right? So that's sort of what you need in Nigeria, because we have that sort of society. However, the competition piece of it becomes really critical. If you're not good, you can't price at a certain number to get me to pay for it. So you need to be good to compete. The price thing diminishes over time. You then now have to be good to command someone to want to pay you. And that's no different than any other business you can think of. Well, it's not just customer service, it's the experience that you want a customer to say, that's an ARIC experience. That's an error experience. I don't know, I grew up with error, so I have some love for it, but I also grew up with Nigerian Airways, and there was a time when Nigerian Airways, there was an experience you got with Nigerian Airways. And that's my love for aviation. It came from there. It didn't come from anyone abroad. It came from Nigerian Airways. And there was an experience for that.